Hello, Utah County. Welcome to Truth in Transit, a voter education project about the Provo-Orem BRT. This is Truth in Transit 201, Quarter Cents and Sensibility. You know, whenever anybody starts talking about funding public transportation and highways in Utah County, you're bound to hear a lot of talk about the 3 different quarter-cent sales taxes, with all of the fascinating formulas and attendant details attached. Well, fortunately for you, we're not going to spend a lot of time breaking down all of those complex formulas, because to answer the questions of how BRT is going to be paid for and why there's a petition to stop BRT funding until Utah County voters have a chance to vote on it, everything you need to know about these quarter-cent taxes is the bottom line. And that bottom line starts with every sales purchase in Utah County that has sales tax attached. And the 3/4 cent taxes are collected out of that sales tax, and then every penny of it is directed to either the UTA or to Utah County roads and highways. And this isn't chump change we're talking about, because this year those 3/4 cents are generating about $57.5 million. And 66% of that revenue stream, about $38 million this year, goes to the UTA, and the other 34%, just under $20 million, goes to Utah County roads and highways. Now those annual dollar amounts can go up or down, depending on how the economy is going up or down. But the formulas are fixed, so no matter what the dollar amount is, UTA always gets 66% of that money, period, and roads and highways always get 34%, period. And there's a pretty rigid wall of sorts that separates these two revenue streams. For example, if Utah County didn't have enough money to finish a particular road project they wanted to finish, and they wanted to tap into the revenue stream that's over on the UTA side and bring it over to the road side, couldn't do it. Fortunately, Utah County hasn't been looking to tap into those UTA revenues, because over the years they've been very prudent, building things like American Fork 9th West, Lehigh 2300 West, the Murdoch Connector, Pioneer Crossing Boulevard, North County Boulevard, Pony Express Parkway, Provo Reservoir Canal Trail, Highway 147, Santaquin Main Street, and the Freedom Boulevard Railroad Bridge, while still maintaining a positive cash flow. Now that's impressive. Meanwhile, the UTA has been using their larger revenue stream to pay for ongoing operating expenses like paying bus drivers and for building things like Frontrunner and tracks. But the cost of those items has locked up their revenue stream, so much so that while the roads and highway side has that positive cash flow, UTA's cash flow is locked up and unavailable until at least 2028. And therein lies the rub for the BRT plan to build bus stations in the middle of the busiest streets in Provo. Because in order to make that happen, UTA needs another $65 million. And with their money tied up until 2028, and there's that pesky wall separating them from the cash flow over on the roads and highway side. And that would be the end of the BRT story, at least until 2028, except somebody came up with a bright idea to get around that pesky wall. Their plan is to borrow the cash flow and replace it with an IOU where they promise to start paying it back in 2028, and the payback period will stretch up to 32 years, all the way out to the year 2050.
I'll have a hamburger, for which I will gladly pay you Tuesday.
Oh boy. Well, what do you think about that, Utah County? Are you okay with the UTA borrowing your roads money, which will increase the UTA share to 78% of the revenue stream and leaving only 22% for your roads and highways? And accordingly, are you okay with delaying $65 million worth of roads projects that could be funded immediately until at least 2028 or as late as 2050? Did you even know this was happening here in Utah County? Or are you just hearing about this now for the first time, like most of your friends and neighbors? Well, that brings us to the question of why there's a petition drive to stop BRT funding until Utah County voters have a chance to vote on it. Most people haven't even heard of it, and yet BRT is gassed up and ready to go. In fact, the only way to get a chance to vote on this, to discuss the pros and cons and make an educated decision, is to get this whole BRT question on the ballot. But we're running out of time and we need your help. Because unless we get 17,885 petition signatures by June 5th, this BRT plan is leaving the station. And just in case you're wondering if that's a good idea, you might be interested in finding out the answer to 2 questions. How well has UTA been using their current portion of the sales taxes? And how likely is BRT to meet UTA's performance projection? We'll take a look at those questions in our next video, Truth in Transit 301, Auditory Concerns, or a failure to adequately project. We'll take a closer look at a legislative audit of the UTA, as well as look at how their projections have stacked up to reality. And we'll also show you a few tidbits we think you'll find fascinating. For example, did you know that in 2013, after all of our tax subsidies and federal grant dollars were paid, that UTA still managed to lose $97 million? I know, we couldn't believe it either. But you can see this video at www.brtpetetion.com. And while you're there, you can get more information, you can get connected with like-minded individuals, and most important of all, you can find out where you can sign a petition. We'll see you there, Utah County.